Hello everyone and welcome to the YouTube channel all about engineering. So today we'll discuss about some types of elements in network theory and some of its definitions, and after that we'll learn about some types of sources, and after that we'll take KCL and KVL. So let's start. So in network theory there are altogether it is classified into 5 types of elements. First is the linear and non-linear elements. Second one is the active and passive elements, bilateral and unilateral elements, distributed and lumped elements, and last one is the time varying and time invariant elements. So now we'll go on to some of its definitions. So first is the linear and non-linear. So a two-terminal element is said to be linear if for all time t its characteristics is a straight line through the origin. So somewhere it is shown like this: when a two-terminal element is said to be linear if for all time t its characteristic is a straight line passing through the origin, then it is linear, otherwise it is non-linear. So this is a very simple definition of a linear and a non-linear. Next is, an element is said to be active if it delivers a net amount of energy to the outside world, otherwise it is said to be passive. I think this definition we learned in the last lecture. This is a simple definition of an active element and a passive element. If an element delivers some amount of energy to the outside world, then it is said to be active, otherwise it is said to be passive. Next is, an element is said to be bilateral if it offers same impedance, that the impedance doesn't change for the different directions of the same current. That is, magnitude current is not changing for different directions. I know this definition looks a little complex, but I will explain you, don't worry. It is said here that ultimately what I am going to explain here is that the symmetry with respect to the origin, as shown in figure here, symmetry with respect to the origin exists if an element is there and its characteristics, its VI characteristics has symmetry with respect to origin, then it is said to be bilateral, otherwise it is said to be unilateral. In other terms, Z, that is impedance, will not change if we go in the first quadrant or if we go in the third quadrant. Its impedance, magnitude of the impedance doesn't change, then it is said to be bilateral, otherwise it is said to be unilateral. This is a simple definition. Means symmetry with respect to the origin should exist for a particular element, then it is said to be bilateral. Otherwise, if symmetry doesn't exist with respect to origin, means symmetry means magnitude here in the first quadrant and magnitude in the third quadrant is same, it is not changing, symmetry is existing, then that particular element is said to be bilateral, otherwise it is unilateral. This is a simple definition. Next, an element is said to be time invariant if for all time t its characteristics does not change with time, otherwise it is said to be time varying. Means the magnitude, particular magnitude will, if it is varying with respect to time t, then it is said to be time varying, otherwise it is said to be time invariant. For example, if we take example of a AC or a DC, then AC, in alternating current, the magnitude of current or voltage or anything is changing with respect to time, so that is called time varying thing. And AC is a time variant, while DC magnitude will be constant with respect to time, so DC is a time invariant quantity. Now here I have shown one particular graph of R1, R2 and R3, a time varying element characteristics. This is the characteristics are varying with respect to time. This R3, this is R1, this is R2. This all the three quantities are varying with respect to time. So it is a time varying element. Other observation which I want to point it out that the above characteristics also represent a linear, passive and bilateral element. Why linear? Because the magnitude, as I explained before, the magnitude it is passing through the origin and it is a straight line with respect to current. It is a straight line passing through the origin. So it is a linear. It is passive because it is showing it is a resistance element. It is a resistance element. That's why this is a passive. And bilateral. Why bilateral? I just now only explained that impedance will be same throughout. It will be symmetrical with respect to origin. So this was one example of a linear, passive and bilateral element, and also a time varying element. Magnitude is changing with respect to time. Now one important note I want to share here with all of you is that the RLC elements are passive only if R is greater than 0, L is greater than or equal to 0 and C is greater than or equal to 0. In other terms, there is a non-negative slope. This is very important here, which I want to point it out, that it is a non-negative slope. Non-negative slope. If an element is having a non-negative slope, then it is a passive element. Otherwise, it is active. If negative slope is there of a VI characteristic, then it is a active element. So this was something about the elements, the types of elements in network theory. At this point of time, now we'll move on to the sources and its types. So the sources, there are basically two types. First is the independent source and the dependent source. The independent source is further classified into voltage and the current sources. The voltage is also further classified into the ideal voltage source and the practical voltage source. I is ideal voltage source, P is the practical voltage source. While current is also categorized further into ideal current source, practical current source. So this was all about independent. Now in the dependent sources, there are four categories: voltage control voltage source, voltage control current source, current control voltage source and current control current source. This I will explain further in the coming lecture. So let's talk about the independent sources. The independent sources will be further classified into voltage and current will be further classified into ideal voltage source, ideal current source, practical voltage source and practical current source. So let's talk about ideal voltage source. Here I have shown one figure. Vs is the ideal voltage source here. Basically its characteristics will be like this. I will flow here from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. For flow of current, always closed path is necessary. Very important point, just I want to highlight here. This is the very important point, that flow of the current is always possible if there is a closed path. Otherwise flow of current is not possible. So let's come on to the property of this ideal voltage source is that in an ideal voltage source, the load voltage, that is V here. The load voltage is V here. I am highlighting it. So in an ideal voltage source, load voltage is independent of the load current drawn. So whatever current it is drawing, the voltage, the load voltage is remaining constant, that is Vs. Irrespective of the current magnitude, the voltage will remain same throughout. That is the property of an ideal voltage source, a simple ideal voltage source. Now at this point of time, there is one note here that I want to highlight it out, that inherently all the sources are non-linear. Practically there are the sources are non-linear in nature, since their voltage and current relation is non-linear. They are basically active and unilateral elements. Now, as I explained before, that DC means time invariant and AC means time varying element. This is simple definition which I want to point it out. Let me rub this out. This is not needed here. Okay. So next definition is the practical voltage source. All the elements generally which are found is practical in nature. So in a practical voltage source, as we can see here, the load voltage is a function of load current drawn. Now, before in the ideal voltage source, I pointed out that the load voltage is independent of the current, but here this is actually current. Here I, this is I actually, this x-axis is I. So wait, this is a little bit more. Let me do it one more time. Yeah, x-axis is I here. I forgot to note it down. Yeah, so in a practical voltage source, the load voltage is a function of load current drawn. It will not be constant in magnitude. The V, that is the load voltage in the practical voltage source, won't be constant. It will be differing with respect to the current. So if you apply KVL, which I am going to discuss in coming lectures, that V here, V in the circuit, that is load voltage, is nothing but the source voltage minus the drop across the resistance, that is I into RS. So basically the main funda which a student should take into account is that in a practical voltage source, the load voltage that is V here is a function of the load current drawn. Won't be constant, it will be a function of the load current. It will be dependent on the current, load current drawn. Now let us move on to one important observation, that when I is equal to 0 here, then V is equal to Vs. In the above circuit, if I is equal to 0, means current through this passive element, if it is 0, then the load voltage will be equal to the source voltage. It is a simple observation. If current, for example, in this equation, if I point it out here, that current I is equal to 0, then V will be equal to Vs. V will be equal to Vs. This is a simple basic mathematical expression. So conclusion what we have to take here is that, very important conclusion is that when current through any passive element is 0, when the current through any passive element is 0, then two end voltages are equal and vice versa. Means in this case, if the current through this passive element, that is the resistor, is 0, then the source voltage will be equal to the load voltage, that is source voltage Vs will be equal to the load voltage V. This was one very important observation in the case of a practical voltage source. Now third is the ideal current source. So ideal current source, the simple definition, in an ideal current source, load current is independent of the load voltage. Whatever will be the voltage, whatever will be the magnitude of voltage here, the current IS won't change. Let the voltage change here, but the current won't change. This is a ideal current source definition. I is equal to IS for all V. For all V, I will be equal to IS. This is simple definition of the ideal current source. Let's come on to the practical current source. Practical current source. In a practical current source, the load current is a function of the load voltage. The load current I, here is I is the load current, IS is the source current. So the load current I is a function of the load voltage. So as the load voltage will change, load voltage is nothing but V here, V. So as the load voltage will change, the load current I will also vary. It won't be constant. It won't be constant as in the ideal current source. In practical current source, the load current will change with respect to the load voltage. That is shown here. It will be changing. So at this point of time, remove this. Yeah. So at this point of time, one important observation here in this case is if when V equal to 0, when voltage, here this is the simple equation, I is equal to Is minus V by Rs. I will explain how this came when we will take upon the KCL and KVL. So I is equal to Is minus V by Rs. So this is a simple equation for this figure here. This is the I, which is nothing but Is minus V by Rs. Is minus V by Rs. Or we can also say that Is is equal to I plus V by Rs. Current entering is equal to current leaving. Current is leaving here. I V by Rs. So I is equal to Is minus V by Rs. This is nothing but KCL, simple KCL, which we will talk in the coming lecture. So at this point of time, one important observation here is that when V equal to 0 in this equation, then I is equal to Is. Means if the voltage here, if it is 0, means I am shorting this load branch. If I short this load branch, then the whole current, source current, will move on to this branch. Means one important observation is that current always chooses the minimum resistance path. Here current is finding the resistance here, so it won't go here. It will go into the minimum resistance. Here resistance is minimum, or I should say it is 0 here. So current will always, this source current will always move on to this low resistance path rather than moving on to the resistance path, more resistance path. So this was very important observation here, that current always chooses a minimum resistance path rather than a high resistance path. So this was something about the independent sources. Now let us talk about the dependent or controlled sources. So in particular there are 5 types of controlled sources: voltage controlled voltage source, voltage controlled current source, current controlled voltage source, current controlled current source, and current controlled voltage source. This is names only are self-explanatory. So voltage control means voltage control voltage source means this particular source, this is a voltage source, but it is controlled by a voltage element. Same here, it is a voltage control current source. This is a current source, but it is controlled by a voltage element. Some independent voltage element is there which is controlling this particular element. We can put in this way. This is a current controlled voltage source. It is altogether a voltage source, but it is controlled by a current source. Some independent current source is controlling this voltage source. It is current controlled voltage source. Next is the current controlled current source. This altogether is a current source, but it is controlled by a current element. Some current source is controlling this particular element, that is current controlled current source. Next is the current controlled voltage source. This is a voltage source, but it is controlled by some current element. So here is K1 into V. V here is nothing but the thing which is controlling this element. What thing is controlling this element is voltage. Here also voltage is controlling this element. Voltage control current source. So some voltage element is controlling this element. So K2 into V. Here some current element is controlling this element. So here I. Here also some current element is controlling this particular source. So here I. While here also some current element is controlling this voltage source. So likewise. So this name only as a very self-explanatory here in this case. So what I have written here is these guys are dependent on some other voltage or current sources. These individuals are not at all independent. They are dependent on some sources, some current or voltage sources. One more thing I have written here is with respect to the controlled variable only, the dependent source are said to be linear active and bilateral. So whether this particular dependent or control sources are linear, active or bilateral is can be decided depending on the control source, whether control source is active, linear or bilateral. Depending on that only we can decide whether these elements are linear, active or bilateral. So with this I end this clip. In the coming lecture we'll take upon the very important concept KCL, KVL. Thank you.